should see my screen. It's called update and discussion. So let's have both of it. And I don't know if you attended the first session a couple of weeks ago. I'm making some sort of a brain map just to put everything on the table I would like to present or discuss, or which is on our working desks with regards to ICMCI. That doesn't mean that this is a full picture of everything we are doing, because ICMCI is doing a lot of much more things, but this is what has been with us in the last couple of weeks. And let me just pick. I'm sure you can read the headlines on this mind map, and I would like to jump in a couple of these boxes and give a little bit more background, because I think many of these boxes are self-explaining, are not very new for you because you are insiders. First of all, we had a strategy discussion in the board 2 weeks ago, I guess. We were preparing us for the face-to-face meeting, which will take place in beginning of June, and then we will proceed with the strategic discussion, and we defined 3 pillars. One is what we called ethic and standards, and the third one is knowledge development and sharing, and the third one is representation. So ethics and standard is more or less what we can do best, where we are the most mature, where we are most mature. It's about the CMC standard and of course ISO standard and everything else and assessments, and but nevertheless, I think it makes sense to evaluate and have a review from a strategic perspective on this pillar in our discussion in June. There's one thing I want to mention, and that is important for you as actually it's it's only important for you, Peter, because Brian, Celal is joining us. Celal, are you here?
Yes, Jalal joined us a few minutes ago. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Just
yes.
on time.
I had a connection problem. Now I am connected.
No
Sorry
problem.
to disturb.
No
okay.
problem. Just on time. I'm just bringing up the ISO systematic review process that has been started, I think, last week. And that is, as it says systematic. It's done every 5 years. It's triggered automatically by the ISO organization. And they already sent out to your national standardization bodies a questionnaire or an email with, to be precise, 3 questions in it. So I don't know if your national standardization body already got in touch with you. If they won't do it, please try to get in touch with them. We do have a little bit time to answer. I think the timeline is something by mid of August, but they are asking 3 questions. Question number 1 is, shall the standard be withdrawn because it's not important for the industry anymore, or the industry disappeared at all, or whatever, for any reason? There might be the decision that the standard will be withdrawn. I hope that is not the case, but that is the first question. The second question is, shall the standard be revised because we have new information, or we have been working with the standard and there are some issues that might be improved. And so they're asking, shall it be revised, and what should be revised? The question is, for what reason? So they want to know what the issues in terms of wording or structure or content to any extent. And the third question is, shall the standard remain unchanged? So nothing to do, and in that case, if the majority gives the feedback that the standard shall remain unchanged. They will come back after 5 more years, and then the discussion, this process will take place every 5 years, and they do it with every standard. Now, the main thing why I'm telling you that is, please keep your eyes open. Did you get some mails from your national standardization body? If not, please contact them and follow up how to proceed, because I think at least the countries where we have member IMCs should respond. Now, what should they respond? We could have different views on that and different opinions on that. I don't think it's absolutely necessary that we have the same answer from every IMC, because that might be different from country to country. The first view is, yes, there are some things that could be improved with regards to wordings and with regards to some editing issues that might be a little bit, as I said, might be a little bit improved. I think the basic content, there's no reason to change it from a fundamental approach. If so, it would be fine to discuss it in our community, but it might be the situation that we want to have some totally different approach, and in that case, I don't know how the ISO organization will react on that, but maybe the committee needs to start working again and discuss it. But for that, there must be a majority of member countries to the ISO organization. In my feeling, I don't think it would be necessary. The other view on that might be that we say, no, for the time being, the standard shall remain unchanged. There are some minor things that might be considered, but in general, the standard shall be unchanged. And we will start the process again in 5 years. That would give us a little bit more time to do more marketing on that. If you remember, we have this balance we are looking for. If we promote the marketing and the consulting community is not well prepared, then it would be a problem for a consultant if the client asking us, what about ISO 20700 and the ISO and the clients don't know. This is why we started the Train the Trainer initiative, and we do have some response from the market, although we do not have active marketing. I have been approached by a German consultant in that case, because their client, a donor organization in Africa, asked them about the ISO standard. We didn't even know this organization, but slowly and time and step by step, the standard is getting more and more into the clients. And so I would like to discuss it, and I see at least 2 hands, Brian and Peter. I think Brian was first. And Brian, please, and Peter,
Very quickly, when the standard was introduced, ISO was telling us that they were almost salivating as a new generation type of standard. Have they managed to get any other profession or any other service providers talking about their own version of the standard? And if not, is there a profession that we know well enough that we could talk to persuade them to start down the route?
Well, the standard is the first service standard. It's the first time that a service is standardized. It's not that there is a standard available for a service. And I have to confess, I don't know if there are any other service industries. I don't know. We could research on that. Should be quite easy, just on the ISO website, just to have a bigger picture on that. Yes, but it's the first standard for services. Peter, please.
Yes, thank you. Is there anything that that ICMCI or the board prefers to be done on the national level if Well, to be honest, I mean, I'm on the National Standards Board, and the National Standards Board doesn't really have an opinion on this standard. So the National Standards Board will have an opinion if we push it through. So is there anything that you suggest that we push through?
Well, as I said, two views. One is, let's keep it in the way as it is. Don't open any discussions that are not very efficient, because I don't see anything that has to be changed on a fundamental base. One fundamental thing would be that the standard could be used for certification, and we had an agreement in the committee that we do not want it, and for the time being I don't think it would be necessary, but I know that there are some organizations or whatever that would prefer a certification.
Those would be the notified bodies or the certifying organizations, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, sure. Yes.
But makes sense.
There are some training institutes, you know, on the global level. They promote it and they sell it. They do their marketing message. This is a certifiable standard, which is simply not correct, and it's rubbish. And from my experience, and maybe Celal has the same, I think there might be some wording issues, and if I would write it again today, it would be a little bit more clearer with regards to the structure, the 3 phases of a consulting project and the 12 policies. They are the core of the standard, but they are not really, when you read it, it's not the first thing that comes in your mind when you read it. But that's it's our training that can promote this message, and for that reason I wouldn't do any fundamental changes and any other discussions.
Robert, I would support your comments indeed. Having done at least 2 training courses or workshops at the ICMCI level recently, and having done around 6 or 7 ISO 20700 checklist training, I have got the feedback from nearly all of the participants that they found it very useful, structured, well-defined, comprehensive, and very, very useful for the business. So I also think that there will not be any fundamental change or any need for fundamental change in the structure and the content. Maybe just something like, as you said, something wording to be improved, something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that would be my my comment too. That there may be minor things, but probably so minor that they're not worthwhile opening the whole box of critters because of this. So I mean, there's in addition to what you said, to make it certifiable, there could be one structural change to like approach a larger piece of the pie, like not start from contracting, but
you have been cut off. I don't know. Was it only on my end?
Same here, Peter. We cannot hear you.
Same here too.
You still can't.
Now we can.
Now we can. Yes.
Okay.
Now we can.
Maybe I was speaking too fast, and then the system couldn't process it. Okay. The government's AI tapping thing cut it because it couldn't process it. Yeah. The Hungarian government does that all the time. So yeah, I'm not sure how long you heard it, but the other perhaps structural opportunity, once we touch it, but it's probably not the time to open it for this reason, could be to start the process earlier, so not at contracting, but say proposal preparation or even earlier, or finish later, like a follow-up phase, and how it closes as a loop in the process. Those would be things I'd prefer to see in a next, or prefer to be considered in the next version, but it's probably not important enough in itself to open the whole thing. So once it's open, then I would have these suggestions, but I don't suggest that we open it at all.
Mm-hmm. And again, certification can be a good next step to deploy the standard itself in the market or in the business area. So the content, the structure is already there fundamentally.
I would personally prefer, actually, if we could have a next round of discussing the standard with more client organizations. Mm-hmm. Because we had some clients in the initial committee, but I would prefer that we have more experience.
We lost your voice.
I'm sorry?
I lost your voice for a couple of seconds.
Okay.
Maybe from my side, maybe.
Well,
okay,
it's the same. It's the same software that is used in Hungary.
Yeah. The Turkish government uses the same software. Yeah.
Yes.
But I just mentioned that I would prefer to have a discussion with more feedback from the market, and the market is already working to some extent, usually from official organizations, of course. And I think time would be a little bit better in another 5 years. But it's my personal opinion. It's not a SMCI opinion. And I think if you go back to your members and ask them, maybe we get some other response. But I just want to mention the major thing is, please be careful not to lose the invitation. However, that process is set up in your country. That might be a little bit different. We got the mail from the Austrian standardization body, I think 2 weeks ago. Another thing I would like to, can we close that topic? Is it okay for you? Yeah.
May I ask just one more question? Yeah. Now, we're going to send out the videos, the video links to all the IMCs. And I would want to highlight actually that part. Yeah. Do you want me in the email to actually ask everyone to provide their input and make sure that they contact their standards departments and provide their input? Or would you like to have further discussion with the IMCs on that subject?
But thank you. In the morning session, I think, was it Lydia or was it?
Lydia.
Yeah, she proposed to call the trainers. We have almost for every institute, we have.
Again, we lost you.
Huh. I don't know what to do.
I don't know. Yeah, we hear you now. Something weird is happening. I don't know what. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
She proposed to ask the trainers. We have for almost every member institute, we have a trainer, and we had one meeting with the trainers maybe a year ago, sharing experience and have a discussion with the trainers. And I think that would be the best way, because they have the most experience. From the consultant side. And I think the best way is to try to make that as soon as possible. And I'm happy that Celal is here, because actually that's a good action for the PSC. Yes. So let us try to follow up. Because, and if you send out the mail, maybe you can already announce it, Rima, and because
I will liaise with Jalal, because there's the 1 week holiday coming up. Maybe right after it, we call for it, and we have it like towards the end of May. if that is a
Okay.
suitable time.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, Rima. Okay.
After you're back from your vacation, Jalal, just give me a nudge, okay?
Okay, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Then I would like to jump into another box that is about the representation pillar. So this is a pillar. Most of the activities we are already doing. It's partnering with international or get in touch with international organization. It includes the marketing activities, and it includes the National Consulting Index. But I think the time is good to evaluate what are we doing with regards to representation of the industry to everybody else outside the industry, international stakeholders. Is there anything we can do better? Maybe we should improve some things. Maybe we should skip some things. And in my feeling, we do have some weakness with regard to being in touch with international stakeholders. But we will discuss that, and we will try to find a way to improve in that way. We do have an upcoming International Consultants Day. I want to now I have a link to the invitation, and I hope it works. Do you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
And everyone received it, right? I'll put the link in the chat anyway.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know. I never did it. I never clicked on a presentation in a Zoom that from a shared screen, but Zoom is as clever enough that it knows it shall show it. Well, the main topic of the internet, but the day, I'm sure you got all the invitation, and I'm sure the first Thursday in June is in your calendar blocked anyway. So it's the first. It's a June 2nd from noon to 2 p.m. UTC. We have 2 hours time. This is an event that is addressing, beside our members, it's addressing the community, the international consulting community, so outside ICMCI. The main topic is consultants to the future, because we think there are so many things happening in the world. We need to be prepared as a consultants. What can the consultants do to contribute to the economic development, or however we call it, development? And I'm very happy that we were able to find a speaker from UNIDO. We have been discussing about that for I don't know how many years, but we haven't been successful. They always had a reason not to come, no time, whatever. But now they said, good idea, thank you for inviting us. And we want to discuss what does UNIDO think for their consulting services they deliver in many parts of the world. What are the challenges that have to be taken, and what's the consulting community, what should they be able to deliver, what knowledge, what competences should they have? And Mr. I don't know if I pronounce correct, it's Badarne. He's from the culture division, and they are doing a lot of consulting services for small companies in the African region to who are selling agriculture goods and food. And it might be the beginning of a new partnership like we have already with EBRD, because they are kind of asking for, maybe we find some trainings or other support from the international consulting community for their consulting services. And actually that is what I think on international level we should do more frequently, to find such partners. We already have that with the EBRD, maybe UNIDO is coming, and there are many other organizations on that level. On a national level, it has to be done by our IMC member institutes. But on international level, I think it's our task. Then we found another world-class speaker talking about the competence framework. Celal will present the competence framework, because the competence framework is exactly addressing those competences that are necessary to be fit for the future challenges from the consulting industry. And it is important because the new competence framework is part of the assessment process. And our member institutes need to be prepared. They need to implement it in their education programs and in their activities. And therefore and that starts with next year. So we need to inform our members, but also other stakeholders that the competence framework is up to date. And then we have a report from Gergane about the Future of Consulting initiative. Many activities are done, and we will launch the next National Consulting Index. I'm very happy that we can do it in the old fashion before the Corona edition. Last year we had this Corona edition because we didn't get sufficient numbers, and the quality of the numbers hasn't been as robust as we need to have it for the National Consulting Index. Now we have the numbers again, and Simon is already very active in calculating, and we can present the National Consulting Index in the International Consultants Day. And the final session will be about another perspective of how can consultants support the development of a national economy with regards to oil countries. And we have a member of the academic fellows who has some experience in that, and he sees a very big field for management consulting services for those oil countries that are developing in new economies. Now you see, I think it's a little bit this International Consultants Day. It's a little bit a sum up of our strategy about standards, about the market, addressing the market, and how can we develop our knowledge with regards to the competency framework. And I'm looking forward. So please register. We do have a lot of registrations. I think something 80 or 90 for the time being. And also we sent it out recently, a couple of days ago. So I think that will grow up to a very nice number. And yeah, looking forward. And invite as many people as you can invite. I think now Peter was first, Brian.
Okay.
So I'll be quick. So this is open to all members and all CMCs and or even the general public, or
yes.
Okay.
Well, the general public that is interested in any way to the consulting community, but.
Of course. I mean, we're not going to force the general public to participate, but,
Yes.
but although in this country we're not far from that. But okay, I'll hope to be able to join. I'll be busy in Vienna on a Constantinus Day.
Yes,
at the same time. So, but I'll try to find a silent corner and log in.
Yes, we are broadcasting from Vienna.
But that is right before the event, Peter. The event at WKO starts at 6 local time. This would be at,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't get my tickets for the event. I just blocked the whole day, but
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
But
And if you want, we will be at the WKO offices. You can come and join us for this.
Okay.
To be precise, the official Constantinus event starts, I think, at 4 o'clock, but that is what they call the road of successors, or however to call it. Just they present their projects. And so if you get an invitation, don't be confused. The official start will be at 4 o'clock in this venture.
Okay.
Yes, Brian, please.
Two brief points. One, can I apologise on behalf of the UK? We will not be attending very greatly on that day. It's it's a national holiday that day for the Platinum Jubilee of Her Majesty.
Yes,
so
Jerry mentioned that
there's
already.
lots of events going on. So sorry, we won't be. More importantly, when we first in 2004 joined as an NGO, the UN, one of the things that was trumpeted was that we could have our International Consultants Day, which we were even then just thinking about. Shankar from India was the promoter of that within ICMCI. That if we had an International Consultants Day and we were a UN NGO, we could get that date put in the official UN calendar of international calendar of official days. And the great advantage of that is all the press around the world use that calendar to pick up the things to fill out their newspapers and their magazines. Have we got it registered yet with the UN?
I thought we did, but I didn't know that it means that we are on an official calendar. I don't know.
It's the first time I hear of this, Brian, so thank you for mentioning it. I'll look into how to.
You know, my role is to drag up things from 20 years ago and say, oh, is that still not done?
Keep doing that. I love it when you do that.
It may be we were misinformed how easy it would be.
Yeah, let's check that. And it's one of the tasks to enforce the international relations on UN level. And that's an open, as I mentioned, it's something that we have some room for improvement. Yes, thank you. Another thing, I don't know if I mentioned that. No, now I need to close that. What happens? Everything looks good. Okay. We will discuss about our marketing activities. We do have, I think, very good improvement with regards to our marketing activities, but now going up to some sort of next level means that we try to find synergies with our member institutes with regards to communication. Because we as ICMCI, we are a community of 50 members. And if we do have marketing activities, I think best way would be that all of us are benefiting from these marketing activities. And that means that we have some sort of campaign planning. And that means that we define a certain number of campaigns, maybe once a year or twice a year, and then discuss it with our members in member institutes if there is something they can benefit from. Now, let me bring an example. If we promote the International Consultants Day, for example, and if we promote that on a global level, there might be a person in Hungary that gets the Google ad for the International Consultants Day, and if this person wants to register, we would like to...
We lost you, Robert.
Okay.
Now it's back.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. If this person wants to register, we would love to send, if this person clicks register here, it should come to an Hungarian website. Please register here, cost €100 to attend. If you become a member of the Hungarian Institute, it's free or whatever. And that would gain synergies between our activities and the activities of our members, and everybody is winning. But it means that we need to organize ourselves, and that's a new level of doing marketing. For the time being, we are doing something and institutes are doing something. Some of them are doing more, some of them are doing less. And as long as we don't bring contradictory message, it's not too bad, but better would be that we have a win-win situation. This is what we want to improve, and we will discuss in our board meeting, in the face-to-face board meeting. It's an announcement. It's not ready yet, but the announcement means maybe you can start thinking about what would it mean for your institute and what would you ask us to do for you, because we need, it's not a one-way street. It's a street in both directions. And I think we don't have experience as ICMCI, the institutes don't have experience. It's a new world for us. And if we don't start it, we will never learn. So let's start learning and let's start doing the best out of it. But it would really bring us on the next level. Along the question, who is doing a little bit financing. So if the Hungarian people in that example say, okay, if you do that here, a couple of €100, you promote the International Consultants Day and we benefit with more members. That would be the ideal world. And so again, it's an announcement. It's not ready yet. We are thinking in that direction, but we don't have a ready solution. Please start thinking from your side, and then let's share and maybe discuss in the annual meeting. Any questions with regard to that? I just got the message that my internet connection is not stable. I have fiber, best quality. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry for that.
Okay.
We only lost a few vowels that you said,
Okay.
so the rest came through. No questions on my side.
Yeah.
Then let's move over to well, it's one hub meeting that is interesting for this audience, and we don't have a date. We have a new chair. It's Cesara, as you maybe already heard, and we will come up with the date for the hub meeting. It's in progress.
It will be in June, Robert.
Yes.
It will be in June. It would be most probably after the Asia Pacific, so after the 14th or 15th of June, and we would announce it.
Yes.
Shortly. Cesara and I are working on some of the details.
One thing I want to add is that Peter knows this topic for, I don't know, a long time. We had many discussions. Yeah, okay. And here's the solution finally, hopefully, and finally. We found a provider who is in Jordan, who has experience with an organization like us. He's chairing I think he's the chair of another organization. It's not in the consulting business.
He used to be the chair of an association that's called INTAJ, which is the Association for IT Companies.
Yes.
And since then, they've been using Zoho. After he left there, he started his own company to provide support for Zoho users. And it feels like what he'll be doing is exactly what he did before.
Now you were lost. It's not on our side. It's not on Peter's side, not on my side. It's on Zoom side.
So you lost me. Okay.
Yes, just for a couple of words. No problem.
Okay, so the main point got through. It's not the same people we talked to before, Peter, when you were with us on the call, but it is Zoho, but with a different provider. We already got the licenses from Switzerland because that's where we should get them. And now we started with the data entry. We're still analyzing the data. Today we had a session. After that, Josema and I started preparing some of the data like he requested us to do. And after the vacation, the Eid vacation, we would start again and look into the entry and how to link them together. So we're preparing data, getting data in, as well as getting some training. So it's all in one somehow.
So this is a very mighty solution. We cannot do everything at the same time. It will take a while, and for the time being, as Rima said, they are starting with it, and they get the basic trainings, and then we will set up, or Rima will set up some sort of a plan where to start and what are the next steps. We cannot, as I said, we cannot do everything at the same time, but things will change. We will become much more efficient and much more, we do have new opportunities. We can do many things in a different way. They have a lot of features, all the workflow management. They have some meeting software. They have a mail system. They have a newsletter system, everything in this solution. And I don't think there's anybody who is working with all of the features at the same time, but it's like Excel. You just pick out what is important for you, and yeah. That's, I also want to mention that it's also not ready, but it's on our table, and I think it's worth for you to know that things might change and things will become more efficient, and maybe it has some effect on the way you do your work, and maybe we can support you a little bit more with your institute, with our activities. However, and that's what I want to say about the new e-business solution. We have two review processes going on. One is about governance. That's our internal view. It's just a regular review process. What can we do better with regards to the organization of the committees, and maybe about the hubs, and maybe other structure within ICMCI. And we do have we already had a meeting. The review is led by Dwight and Jean Liat and Christine Cox from Australia, and Kim Carney are members along with Rima and me, and they have a list, and then they will go through the list and present that in our board meeting, and then we will come back to you in the annual meeting, maybe if we suggest to change some things, and usually these things will be need to be reflected in the bylaws, because governance always has something to do with the bylaws. Yeah, it's not that we have a big pain in that, but you never know. It's something worth to discuss about. And the other review is outside ICMCI. It's the stakeholders review. It's how do we deal with other stakeholders in the consulting community on a global level. As I mentioned, for example, UNIDO, are there others? How do we deal with United Nations? We do have a United Nations task force, and we do need, we get some invitations from them, but we don't, well, we are not on the level we should be, how to reflect on that and how to work with that. And these are the things that are discussed in the stakeholder reviews. How do we deal with institutes, with countries that have no member institute within ICMCI, and this discussion is led by Jeremy, and it might also have some impact on our bylaws. So the latest that we will have the discussion on the table is in our annual meeting. But I just wanted to let you know, this is governance review, inside view, stakeholders review, outside view. Yes, Celal, please.
Robert, I just want to add the information that at the Professional Standards Committee, we organized a brainstorming session with the participation of members of PSC, and we have prepared some initial initial content around the stakeholders. We tried to group them, and we tried to identify what kind of stakeholders and from which dimensions and from which profiles, etc. And this will be, I think, a good input for the task force. And then the task force will continue to focus on the communication processes and relations with those stakeholders, I think.
Your input as PSC was already provided to Jeremy, Celal. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, that's what I wanted to propose. Good. Yeah, that's from my side. I wanted to mention, there's another thing I want to mention, that's the event planning. I don't need to go in detail because there's only one event missing, and that's that's the annual meeting and the conference. We were planning, or we are planning to do that in October, mid of October, 13th to 15th, in this range, but we do not know for the time being how to do it, because now everybody is talking about the COVID situation is getting better, but everybody's saying, but it will become worse in September, October, maybe November. We don't know how worse. We don't know how the situation will be in different countries, and so on and so forth. So we are postponing the decision, but in June we need to decide. And we have many voices that say very loud, we would like to meet in person again. And we do have many voices that say, be careful. So maybe it's a mixture, maybe it's a hybrid event, and hybrid events, it's said very easy. Let's do a hybrid event, but actually it's quite complicated. Different time zones, different discussions, and how can we communicate within a room and with people out there, and that's not so, but okay, that's I think it will go in that direction, because we actually wanted to do that since many years, that we have more participants to our annual meeting and the conference. But as I said, there is a good reason to think twice about how to do it. And yeah, we need to have a decision on that in June. We will not have a call for proposals like we did in the last years, and a competition of countries who want to make the event and be the organizer for the event, but we will make something in between. Important, please mark these days in the calendar, and be ready maybe to travel, but I don't know.
What Robert is trying to say is that we want to keep the risk at the ICMCI level and not at the IMC's level. So we might take up the hand and just try and manage it ourselves if the decision is to hold some sort of an event, but that would be during June.
And you said 13th to 15th of October, around those days.
Yes.
Yes, because we have the Constantinos Award, we have the annual meeting, and we have the conference. So those are the 3 days, 3 events, and we'll see how it goes, if hybrid or if virtual.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're muted, Peter.
Yeah, sorry, I was just mumbling here that the Constantinus Day doesn't need to be a separate day. It's just an evening event. But yeah, nothing important. But thanks for reminding me too.
Yeah, but it could be an event, a virtual event, a total virtual event, and it could be, depending on the countries that are participating, that's when we would set the time for it. So again, everything is kind of unsure, ambiguous up until we fully understand the whole lot and put all the, let's say, all the sections together to build the proper puzzle. But till now, it's
June is probably still a good time for decision. Understanding that that on a Constantinus event, clients would also be invited for them to, I don't know, travel overseas. It's usually a more complicated organizational task than for the consultants themselves. So that, but like from June to October, it should be okay.
And by then we'll know more about which countries are participating, and yeah, things will become clearer. So we're just giving ourselves a bit of time, like Robert said.
So
Okay, that's
VUCA
quick from
became
my
part of
yes,
life.
Sela?
VUCA became part of life.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you.
The,
No
the
problem.
new normal.
The new normal, yes. Okay, that's from my side. It's almost at the hour. Yeah, but we had a good discussion, so it took a little bit longer, not just presenting from my side, but having a good discussion. Is there anything else that you want to raise?
Just thank you, Robert, for the update.
Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
For the summary and for the work and everything.
Yeah.
Rima too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
If it's
Thanks,
any
guys.
consolation, Robert, the work of chair gets heavier as each new chair comes along. So when you've finished, the new chairs, you know they'll be doing more.
Yes. But that's the tradition in ICMCI. I think you know best. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.